And welcome back to the Homemade Podcast of Sports with your host, Jay Pops. Guys, as you can see, it is football Sunday. I have on my Texan gear. Yes, guys, as you all already know, I'm a big Texan fan. So, guys, man, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the post-game reaction from the Texas A&M Aggies victory over South Carolina. So, guys, first off, I will say this. Shout out to Jimbo Fish and Bobby Petrino for converting 4 out of 4 fourth down converters. Okay. I heard a lot of you guys talk about this with the Alabama game and also with the Tennessee game. Why can't we go for it on fourth down and stuff like that? I'm here to say, guys, I believe they heard us, for whatever reason. I believe they heard all of you all. And Jimbo Fish and Bob Petrino said, all right, hey, forget it. We're going to work on fourth down. For whatever reason, when me and Eric was watching the game, man, and shout out to Eric for doing the live with me on yesterday. When we sat up there and watched that game, it looked like they were purposely not picking up first downs for whatever reason. Once again, now, this is my opinion. It looked like they were purposely not picking up first downs to see if they can get it on fourth downs. Now, I'm glad they chose South Carolina to potentially work on that with. And, it worked. So they were 4 for 4. Now, will that happen going forward against some of the better defenses that they're going up against? The next game that we play is against Ole Miss. For the ones that did not know, Ole Miss ranks defensively number 51 in the country. That is a pretty decent defense for if you're Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin. All right, so that game is going to be very, very intriguing. I think a lot of people are counting this game as a loss already. And a lot of people are saying that Ole Miss will potentially blow us out. All I will say is just stay tuned because what this team just done last game, and I'm going to talk about just one specific quarter because the first quarter did not look good. All right, so I agree with you guys on that. First quarter did not look good at all. The second quarter, for Max Johnson to run an efficient offense and score 21 points just in one quarter alone, that gave you something to believe in. So you know that Max can do it. You know that Bobby Petrino can call an offense for whether it's Max Johnson or Connor Wiggins. That made me feel pretty good. Now, the second half, I know they got all field goals, but 2 of those calls, 2 of them, one, the Max Wright touchdown got called back. The second one, the Noah Thomas touchdown, is just the defensive player made a good play on the ball. So I'm not mad at that at all. Guys, just 1 second here. But the Noah Thomas, pass deflection, man, I'm not considerably mad on that because of the simple fact of that Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher was playing aggressive. They were very aggressive in this game. And I like what I've seen. And like I say, man, the first quarter didn't go good. That's fine. I can live with that. Guys, I can live with that. At some point, we have to be able to live with something. But from what I've seen was just one quarter long. And those guys scored 21 points with Max Johnson like that, man. That looked really good. It kind of reminded you of Connor Wingman being in the game. Connor come out there, score quick, and and we keep on going from there. Shout out to Dominique Green. That throw was late to Noah, and it was. That throw was pretty late. But the point I'm making is that they were being more aggressive than what we've seen in previous games. They were very aggressive in this game. It's just everything didn't work out like how it's supposed to. A couple of things here, man. Evan Stewart dropped the pass, that could have been a first down. Evan Stewart made a couple of plays that Evan looked like a 5-star receiver out there. I'm happy to know that Max was playing with a bit more confidence than what he had been previously playing with. And I don't think a lot of guys looked at that. A lot of guys are kind of looking at the negative aspect of the game. We should have scored more points. Hell, I'm with you. Hell, I'm totally with you. We should have scored more points. But for Max to be very efficient, look, Max should have had more touchdowns in this game than what he had. He only had one touchdown. If you can remember previously, I called out Max. I called out Bryce Foster. I called out a lot of these guys, and a lot of these guys kind of stepped up, man. Now, Max will continue to get pressure. I'm going to live with that. The offensive line still has a lot more games to play and get better. Okay, they can get better. I hate that a lot of you all don't look at what they can get better in doing. The defense has gotten enormously better. The defense is number 7 in the nation under DJ Durkin. Last year, right around this time, when we played Ole Miss, we were not a good defensive team at all. Now coming into the game, we're a better defensive team. We're average offensively. I'm just saying we are very average offensively. But this average offense can go out and win against Ole Miss. Okay? It can go out and win against Ole Miss. I'm sorry. It absolutely can. But from what we've seen on last game, and at the same time, man, you got to understand that this game was to be played to where nobody got hurt in this game. We cannot afford injuries. Although we have the depth chart for if an injury does occur. You know, if Evan Stewart goes down, I'm here to tell you that Musa Muhammad can fill that spot just like that. Okay, Aniyah Smith can fill that spot just like that. I like how the way Aniyah's played in this game. Aniyah was the absolute dog in this game. And I think a lot of people have been waiting to see what Aniyah Smith could do throughout the season. As right now, Aniyah Smith and Evan Stewart are the top 2 wide receivers in this offense. If you would have told me that Evan Stewart and Aniyah Smith will both have over 500 receiving yards going into the 9th week of the season, I would have told you that, you know, hey, man, you're right. But to be it without Connor Winkman being out there and just Max Johnson, I think they're pretty good. What we're looking at, though, is the defense way ahead of schedule than the offense, only because Max Johnson is out there and Bobby Petrino just having to adjust to Max Johnson. Okay, he's not the high-flying quarterback, but he doesn't need to be. Can you make the right plays to win the ball game? It's what we're looking at. I know, guys, we want a high-powered offense already. I understand that. I'm totally with you all on that. But I do understand that Max is not going to give you a high-powered offense. Max can give you a very good offense, and he can efficiently win you the ball game. Now, they won against a bad South Carolina team. That team was bad. But if Max is putting you in the right position to where his defense can come out and say, okay, Max, we got you on this, although they gave up 17 points. They shouldn't have gave up 17. They shouldn't have. But it is what it is. We're going to get the best. We're going to get the best of everybody. Although that record is 5-3, we're going to get the best out of every SEC opponent that we play. You guys got to know that. They want to beat this team. This team is still the 4th most talented team in all this college football. All right? And, yeah, it's killer that they're 5-3, you know, but the 3 teams in front of them are Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and those are the 3 teams. All 3 of those teams, for the simple fact that those 3 teams have been to the college football playoffs, they've been in national titles, and they've won national titles. It's one of those, you can't expect everything to come just like that to a team where last year they were just 5-7. We were just 5-7. And a lot of these guys that are on this 4th most talented team right now, they're literally all sophomores, man. So I think we all as a fan base have to temper the expectations. We're in year 6, don't get me wrong. But if you would have told me that in year 6 we'll be playing with a bunch of sophomores, I would have told you that you're lying. I would have told you that you're lying, man. But this is a team that is building team chemistry. This is a team that is having to sit there and withstand a lot of things that they didn't see coming. Nobody seen Connor getting hurt. And Connor is a sophomore, but nobody's seen him getting hurt. It's a lot of expectations that we put on this team. Some of us just have to back up and kind of check ourselves at times and say, okay, well, am I putting too much expectations on the team? Honestly, we're not. The simple fact of that, like I say, Jimbo is in year 6. I'm not going to disagree with you guys when you say, hey, man, Jimbo is in year 6. Jimbo is in year 6 with a full sophomore roster, believe it or not. It's a couple of guys on that offensive line that are juniors and seniors. Most of them are sophomores, though. Most of them are sophomores. Trey Zoom, even if he comes out sophomore. Chase Basantis, freshman. Cam Dewberry, sophomore. Bryce Foster, junior. Leighton Robinson, senior. Notice what you're dealing with. With that being said, though, the team has not given up a lot of sacks like you guys think they have. They've given up a lot of quarterback pressures. But if Max can continuously stand in the pocket and just deliver the ball, then I think we'll be okay. I'm sorry. I know you guys don't want to hear that. And I know you guys, oh, Pops, man, you just telling us something to just be positive. I'm telling you guys what's real. Okay? Yeah, the offensive line doesn't stand up as good. But as the season goes along, let those guys continue to develop. Let those guys continue to learn. Okay? What South Carolina done the entire game, and I sat up here and I witnessed this, was South Carolina came out and they ran blitz after blitz after blitz. You can't hold up on every blitz. Okay, I'm sorry. You cannot hold up on every blitz. What Max Johnson did was standing there as a veteran, and he delivered some timely throws. He only got 1 touchdown. I'm fine with that, but Max had no turnovers. Max had no turnovers on blitzes. That's what you want to see, because the teams going forward, their defenses aren't good. South Carolina defense was not good. Hell, they're pretty much almost last in the entire NCAA nation in defense. But what Max was able to give you was some good yards. He threw for about 245 in this game. And let me make sure I'm correct here. But Max threw for about 249 yards in this game, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. I'm fine with that. The offensive line gave you 105 rushing yards. I'm fine with that. Could it be more? Yes. But if your defense is on the other side, opposite of looking at you, the defense only gave up 176 passing yards. Spencer Rattler has been going off on each and every team so far, and he's been collectively throwing for like almost 300 yards a game. South Carolina coming into the game, they only got 176. It has been 2 full seasons. Well, I'm sorry, it's been 2 straight seasons where we've seen Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler last year only threw for about 150 yards in that game, but they won. Spencer Rattler this year only thrown for 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. They did not win. The rushing yards that we held South Carolina to was only 33. You can't ask for a better defensive performance than what you've seen right there. Spencer Rattler had 7 carries for negative 42 yards. I've never ever witnessed nor seen that with a Texas A&M defense. I've never seen that. Never at all. Man, that's pretty damn good, because the team that you're going to go up against in the next game against Ole Miss, they're going to absolutely try to run the ball on you. They're going to reverse them for what they've seen from Tennessee and stuff like that. They're going to run some similar things. Jackson Dart is a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler, I believe, although Spencer is pretty accurate, but I believe Jackson Dart is a better quarterback. He has a better wide receiver core than Spencer Rattler does. They're going to get the ball out quick. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay, but just looking at that South Carolina game, man, I feel pretty good in what I've seen, because the guys were out there playing to get back in the rhythm. They wanted to get back in the win column, install some confidence in the offense and stuff like that. Could it have been better? Yes. But once again, we finally seen Max Johnson get up to over 200 plus yards, and I believe that's pretty good on what we have seen previously from Max Johnson. You know, I'm just being honest with you. Now, can you go up against a defense that Ole Miss is decent? They're not a dominant defense by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I know Ole Miss defense has been collectively good over the past couple of games, but who has Ole Miss really played? You know, if you just want to ask that question, when they went up against a pretty dominant defense, and although they played them on the road, Ole Miss has been shut down. You know, they lost that ball game to Alabama 24-10. You know, so now you're walking into the game where you're a pretty dominant defense. The passing defense has got better. The tackling has got better. So what can you do going forward with this defense? So as a head coach, man, I'm going to tell you guys this now. Looking at this last game, you know specifically what you need to do going forward into the season. You need to make sure Max Johnson is just very efficient with no turnovers. Okay, you need to make sure that your offense period is very efficient with no turnovers. The running game needs to get better. You know, that's the only thing that's going to help out Max Johnson in a big way. And you're not specifically going to be leaning on Max Johnson. All right. But I'm in agreement to that. The offensive line can get better run blocking. As crazy as that may sound, they can be just a little bit better than what they have put out there. All right. So you need to see those guys just continuously work on a couple of things, work on a couple of reps and stuff like that. So what are we going to be looking for, man? Because now we can go into the Ole Miss game and not so much, you know, look ahead to the next game. So now we're getting into the Ole Miss game. So let's talk about the Ole Miss game. What are you wanting to see? A lot of people just want to see offensive points. The game that Ole Miss just played against Vanderbilt, I'm going to tell you guys right now, Ole Miss let off the gas. And you can tell they let off the gas, but at the same time, it was a couple of plays that they just weren't executing on in the second half. Is that because they're in the back end of the season and a couple of their guys are starting to get kind of worn down? You know, is that going to be a factor going into this ball game where you look around at Texas A&M, and Texas A&M has a depth chart to go up against any team in the nation in the back half of the season? And they can rotate guy after guy after guy. Can Ole Miss do the same? I don't think so. And to be honest with you, I know they can't rotate guy after guy. So what Ole Miss prides themselves on is beating you in the first two quarters. That way they won't have to continuously go and go. The only team that they've done that on so far is LSU. And LSU has a horrendous defense this year, which is so crazy to me. But LSU has a horrendous defense this year. So they can go stride for stride with teams without a defense. I seen Ole Miss play against Arkansas. Ole Miss should have lost that game against Arkansas. I'm going to be dead honest with you. They should have lost that game, but they didn't because Arkansas is on a losing streak. So you don't need to lose that game. You need to honestly win that game, but they fought for it. You know, this game against Vanderbilt that they just played again, I told you, Lane Kiffin absolutely let off the gas. He know he could have had more points, but he let off the gas somewhat. And that's because he wants to be prepared for this next matchup coming. He knows that Texas A&M is walking into that game 5-3. That isn't the team that was 5-7 on last year. And I can't remember the record when they went up against Ole Miss. I can't remember where we are, but we were a losing team, period. He knows that he's not walking into that type of team this year. He's walking into a good defensive team. It's going to be a team that's pretty much ready. He remembers what he said to Bryce Anderson, and I can tell you right now, Bryce Anderson is ready. So that's why. So what we're going to lean on in this game, and a lot of you Aggies need to lean on this in this game, we're going to lean on our defense. If the defense can show up and show out, I don't see a reason to why Texas A&M can't win this game. We have been horrible on the road, and I know that. It's nothing that points to you guys believe in what I'm saying when we've been absolutely horrible on the road. I don't even much know how in the hell I'm saying what I'm saying when we've been horrible on the road. But at the same time, I can look and see that it's a different energy with this team, even though they've lost some games. I believe Edrin Cooper is the voice for that entire football team right now. Edrin wants it. I believe Anaya Smith is the second voice of that football team. Anaya wants it. That's why you've seen Anaya Smith go off and go off. I believe for the younger part of the team, Evan Stewart is the voice of that younger part of the team. I believe in Evan Stewart, and you can tell Evan Stewart is a different person thus far this season. Okay, the only thing with Evan Stewart is that can we continuously keep him healthy going through the rest of the season? I know we did not see Moose Muhammad, but something in me is telling me that Moose is looking at Anaya Smith, and he's knowing that Anaya has to do what he has to do to go to the NFL. And I believe that's what I love about Moose right now. Moose is kind of taking a step back, and he's giving other guys a good role to keep on doing what they're doing. If this is what's going to help the team go forward, I'm fine with it. I don't believe Moose will go anywhere next season. I believe Moose will come back because Moose know that he has a spot, period, next season. But I believe if Moose is involved in this game, in which I don't see why he wouldn't be, look for somebody on that wide receiver core other than Evan Stewart and Nia Smith to make an impact. Noah didn't. I believe Noah played. Yeah, Noah played in this game last year with Connor, and Noah was an absolute dog in this game. Evan was a dog in this game. When they played against Ole Miss at Kyle Field. Texas A&M could have won that game last year. They could have absolutely won it. But they did it. They did not. More to Moose not being involved. That's the Dominique Green right there. I know it's a little bit more going on right there, but by Moose taking a step back, I believe something is up right. I'm not going to say something is up bad, but then again, man, Moose may be injured. I'm here to tell you, I don't know everything. I don't know everything what's going on inside that complex. But Moose may be injured. Then again, Moose may be doing some other things to just reevaluate some situations, and he's going to be going from here. I do believe Moose will be back next year, though. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because I've been wrong several times, and I admit when I'm wrong. I believe Moose comebacks next year. And he's going to work on, hey, man, getting into that draft and stuff like that. So, like I say, man, going forward, Ole Miss is one of the biggest challenges. But then again, Mississippi State is a trap game. I'm sorry, man. Mississippi State is still right there. LSU is by far the biggest challenge ever. And that has always been the biggest challenge of when we go on the road and face LSU. Now, what we did last year to LSU, I don't know where that came from. I can be honest with you and say, I don't know where that came from. But that team absolutely put something in their mind to say, no, man, we can go out and beat a top 10 team. So anybody who's thinking that Jimbo Fisher hadn't beaten a top 10 team, you honestly can't say that because they beat a top 10 team last year in LSU at home. And it was their last game of the season, but they beat them. I don't think I ever witnessed LSU lose to a team that bad. Ever. In which they're the more dominant team. I've never seen LSU lose to a team like that. LSU usually beats a team when they're that bad. So, like I say, man, we're going to keep going, and we're going to see what's actually what. But I believe Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino has something in their back pocket for this Ole Miss game. I think you see some trick plays in that Ole Miss game. As crazy as that may sound, I think you see some trick plays in there. I believe Bobby Petrino himself wants to beat Ole Miss. He wasn't around for the Ole Miss game last year. So I think he does want to go on the road, and he wants to beat Ole Miss. Man, let's be honest here. Bobby Petrino wants to win the rest of this season, period. Bobby Petrino ain't going anywhere. He'll be back on next year, guys. But I believe we just see a bit more. Like I say, if you were to tell me that Max Johnson scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, in the second quarter alone, was just one quarter, and I'll tell you that you're lying. But I think they've done enough just to win the ball game so they can move on to the next game. That next game, I think they're gonna put up some points, and I think they're gonna do their best to put up some points. Ole Miss does have a weakness, and their weakness is the pass defense. Our weakness so far, ever since the Miami game and the Alabama game, I will say that the pass defense hasn't been our weakness so far. Spencer Rattler, like I say, absolutely came into the ball game, and he could pass the football. He converted on a couple of third downs. I would give him that. And he made some good passing plays. But in the end, he only had 176 yards. And everybody else has been rushing Spencer Rattler too. But Spencer Rattler has thrown for like 300, 250, and stuff like that. So I believe that we can go into that ball game with a whole different mindset. It's at 11 a.m. again. I don't think 11 a.m. will be the factor to if any team loses this game. But I will say this. I believe that wide receiver core is a bit more confident than what they were previously walking into the ball game. I believe that they know now that they can make some plays, and they believe that Max can make some plays. How the way Max was actually delivering the ball, and especially that pass to Anaya Smith, and Anaya Smith just ran it in. You can tell Max is believing more into himself and believing into the throws that he's making. I will ask this from Max, though. Just get rid of the ball quicker. Don't take the sacks. It's no reason for you to take them like that. The reason why you were sacked 3 times is because you absolutely just took the sack. You know, you can easily throw the ball away, throw it at a wide receiver feet. They won't call it intentional grounding if the wide receiver's in the area. I'm sorry. But you can specifically see that Max was doing his best not to turn that ball over. How the way we went for it on fourth downs is what I'm going to specifically always come back to, because you're facing a team that's going to go for it on fourth down. Ole Miss, this is a hidden thing with Ole Miss. Ole Miss has not been very good on third downs this year. They are absolutely they're pretty bad when it comes to third downs. And that's crazy because all you guys see from Ole Miss is a high-powered offense. When it gets to third down situations, they have not been good at all. And I really want to see what does that actually translate against a defense that's damn good on third down percentage, in which is Texas A&M. Texas A&M is good as a third down percentage defense. What can we do against Ole Miss? Man, look, I'm here to tell you this. This game is going to be sneaky good. It's going to be very, very good, man. And I'm looking for Texas A&M to possibly upset Ole Miss in this game. It's going to be a hard-fought game, to say the least, and that's very hard to believe in. But I'm looking for Texas A&M to upset this team. As of right now, Ole Miss was a 5-point favorite, but I just went to it again. Ole Miss is a 3.5-point favorite right now. It's something that they know about Ole Miss that we don't. And I specifically think they're looking at the third down percentage. How many third down situations can Texas A&M get Ole Miss in to where they're having to lean on their third down percentage? They've not been good, man. And Lane is going to go for it on fourth downs in this game. The question is, can you stop him on fourth down? That guy is pretty good on fourth down situations. So can you stop him? The thing about Texas A&M is that Texas A&M also is going to go for it on fourth downs. That alone, I believe, will have Texas A&M winning this ball game if they convert on a significant amount of it. Now, like I say, man, what we've seen from last game with South Carolina, I don't mind those field goals in the second half. Like I say, one of those touchdowns was taken back by the referee. That should have been a touchdown with Max Wright. I don't mind the field goals when this game was pretty much a no question of in doubt of who would win. And it was A&M. Like it was a pretty comfortable win. to say the least, and you didn't really have to do as much. We want to see you dominate. Like I believe that's just a fan's perspective. They want to see you dominate every game. But if it constitutes on you not having players injured and going into the Ole Miss game in the back half of the rest of the back half of the season not injured, which you come into every game fully healthy, then I'll take that all day long. It wasn't no injury in this game for Texas A&M. Adrian Cooper was one of the best that you will keep on seeing. The defensive line has not been injured as much. I expected for these guys to be 100%. Le'Veon Moss was the only guy that was pretty much on the injured list coming into the ball game. I expect Le'Veon to be back next game. For guys that did not know, Le'Veon Moss was injured. He was pretty banged up felt like they could keep him out for this game, for the South Carolina game specifically. They could lean on a couple of guys that, was pretty much good to go. Le'Veon Moss will be in the next game. I've seen a couple of holes at the offensive line pretty much open for Mario Daniels and also Ruben Owens. We got 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. Man, that's pretty good. I like that. It's just, man, you got to take out the little positives that you can and keep on executing on everything else, all right? Other than that, guys, that's all I have for you on today. I will be back on Tuesday, all right? I love all of you guys for tuning in. And once again, #GeekMax.